Hello, everyone. You are about to hear a brief retelling of the movie Perfect Strangers. Enjoy the movie. The film begins by depicting the lives of three distinct married couples. Antonio and Anna are the first couple. They're getting ready to go out to dinner with their couple pals, and it appears like they're having some problems in their relationship. Antonio is covertly messaging someone in the restroom, while Anna is checking at her phone before pulling down her pants for no apparent reason. Then we meet Eduardo and Blanca, the second pair. They recently married and can't get enough of one another. They are observed behaving all mushy. Finally, there's therapist Eva and surgeon Alfonso at another residence. They appear to be a little older than the previous two couples, and they are cooking supper since they will be hosting dinner tonight. They have different ideas on how to care for their 17-year-old daughter Sophia, especially when Eva discovered condoms in her luggage. Eva and Sophia's relationship is strained, and while Alfonso believes Sophia should be allowed to explore on her own, Eva disagrees. In the following scene, we find that these three couples are good friends. They all plan to come together and watch the lunar eclipse, and it's going to be a night full of fun, love, and perhaps a few surprises. Antonio and Anna come first, bringing a handmade lunch to Eva and Alfonso's home. Eduardo and Blanca then join in. Eduardo is charmed by Eva's lovely earrings as the couples assemble and drink wine. They then inquire about their seventh buddy, Pepe, and are particularly interested in his new girlfriend, Lucilla, and are anxious to meet her, believing that Pepe is quite fortunate. When Pepe arrives at the party by himself, their joy evaporates when they learn that his girlfriend, Lucilla, is unable to attend due to a fever. They all sat down for supper after a brief discussion on Pepe's girlfriend. They discuss a variety of topics, including how they sometimes have difficulty understanding one another. They're also talking about how a text message on a phone is causing problems for someone they know. It's literally ruining the woman's life, and her family is disintegrating since she discovered her spouse is cheating on her. They have differing viewpoints. Some believe it is the lady's responsibility for checking her husband's phone, while others believe it is the man's fault for not being cautious. They believe he should have deleted the message instead. This disagreement prompts Eva, the therapist, and Eduardo to compare mobile phones to small black boxes containing life's darkest secrets. They feel they are so dangerous that they may destroy couples. Anna concurs with Eva, noting that her husband, Antonio, never shows her his phone and even takes it to the restroom. When Antonio hears this, he decides to place his phone on the table to demonstrate that he has nothing to hide from his wife. Everyone backs him up and claims to be good friends with no secrets. When things start to grow dull, Blanca attempts to inject some humor into the situation. She recommends a game in which they all place their phones on the dining room table and, while eating, share any texts or phone calls they get with the group. Most of them are at first skeptical about the game, but in the spirit of demonstrating that they have nothing to hide, they finally agree and set their phones on the table. Just as they're about to continue their dinner, a sudden strong wind blows through the house, knocking the vase to the floor and creating a commotion. Outside, the dogs start fighting, and they witness the eclipse forming as well as an accident on the street below. Everyone goes insane all at once. They return to the dinner table, and soon after, Eva and Alfonso's daughter, Sophia, arrives, greeting everyone and taking her father away. She asks Alfonso for money and leaves for her friend's party. Eduardo receives a flirtatious text message from an unknown number, which surprises his wife, Blanca, because it reads, "I desire your body." This causes the couple to argue, and to make matters worse, Eduardo receives a phone call from an unknown number. Some couples question Eva about why she didn't go to her spouse for the surgery, bringing their own troubles to the dinner table. Alfonso then reveals that Eva's father dislikes him and believes he's a bad physician. He maintains that Eva's father is solely interested in the greatest surgeon for his daughter. After a while, Antonio joins Pepe outdoors for a smoke, where they see a partial moon eclipse. According to Antonio, this type of eclipse foreshadowed something horrible. The Mayans think it distorts time, causing things that shouldn't happen, and then they all vanish. But that's not really what he wants to say. Antonio confesses that he has a lady friend who will send him some explicit pictures every night at 10 o'clock. He's concerned that Anna will find out, so he seeks Pepe's assistance. Antonio even offers that they exchange phones because they are the same brand. Pepe isn't delighted with the plan because the photo will be delivered to him instead, despite Antonio's assurance that no one would notice because Pepe is unmarried. Despite Antonio's impassioned appeal, Pepe appears unwilling to assist and retreats inside. Later, everyone reassembles around the dinner table, and more texts, messages, and phone calls begin to arrive. Ana inadvertently spills wine over Alfonso, and while everyone's attention is directed to Alfonso, Antonio stealthily switches his phone with Pepe's. Nobody, not even Pepe, is aware of what is going on. Soon later, Pepe's switched phone receives a notice, and, as predicted, he receives that obscene photo from Antonio's WhatsApp pal. Pepe has no option but to pretend as if the photo is for him now that he knows what Antonio has done. They all have a good laugh and make fun of Pepe, not understanding it's not even his phone. Following that, Pepe's original phone, which is now Antonio's, buzzes, and he receives a text from someone named Lucio, just inquiring how he is. This text causes Pepe to get quite angry, while Antonio informs them that this man is from his job. When Antonio is urged to respond to the text immediately, Pepe begins ranting about how these phones invade their privacy and ruin their life. Everyone is taken aback by his abrupt outburst. Finally, they all agree not to respond to Lucio's SMS message. Eva then receives a message from a senior retirement home offering services and discounts. Antonio is irritated by this because his elderly mother lives with them. He confesses that his mother can be difficult at times, but he does not want to put her in a nursing facility. The couples decide to observe the blood moon eclipse from the balcony to lighten the atmosphere. After admiring the scenery for a time, they decide to snap a group shot with Blanca's phone. Alfonso doesn't even have time to change his clothing, and weirdly, everyone in the shot vanishes after Blanca takes it. Unfortunately, just as they're ready to take the second photo, Blanca receives texts from her ex, which irritates Eduardo and makes him envious. But, before things get too hot, Blanca calms him down by explaining that her ex is in another relationship and wants her help. Finally, Antonio proposes Blanca share her ex-girlfriend Eva's phone number, joking that he needs a therapist rather than an ex-girlfriend. Sofia then phones her father, Alfonso, and reveals that her father was the one who granted her the prior safeguards. She explains that Alfonso has urged her to always make the correct decision and to be wary of the evil folks. Eva begins to learn something after hearing how Alfonso handles his difficult daughter using reverse psychology when the daughter informs Alfonso that Eva never listens to her. Then, on Pepe's phone, Antonio receives another text from Lucio. He chooses to respond this time because he is the one having the phone. He informs Lucio that he is at a party with his friends. After he sends the text, things take a different turn when Lucio calls, and Antonio is forced to answer it. Lucio bursts up laughing, stating they're in a relationship. Everyone is astonished, and they presume Antonio could be gay, not knowing the phone actually belongs to Pepe. Antonio tries to make things better by claiming that he and Lucio usually work together at their employment and that, day after day, Lucio develops affections for him despite his attempts to reject him. He looks at Pepe several times, but things get complicated when he explains. Just then, Lucio sends another text message, this one much more frantic, adding, "I miss your kisses." Both his wife, Ana, and his buddy, Eduardo, get irritated and rude. Eduardo feels this way since Antonio and he were close friends in their adolescence and regularly slept and even bathed together, despite Eduardo's knowledge that Antonio is gay. When Eduardo's phone rings, the atmosphere in the room becomes quite strained. It's a man on the other end of the call who wants to know if Eduardo's girl enjoyed the earrings he sent. Eduardo attempts to avoid the topic, but it's too late, everyone has already heard it. Blanca is taken aback because she never wears jewelry and doesn't even get her ears pierced. When Alfonso hears this, he instantly glances at Eva's earrings, which she wears despite the fact that he never gives them to her. He notices something strange going on behind him. Eduardo's phone lights up again in the midst of their furious debate, displaying the name Lola. Blanca takes action swiftly, picking up the phone, and this is when things take a drastic turn. Lola admits that she is the mother of Eduardo's kid. Blanca totally loses it after learning this. She's broken, and in disbelief, she locks herself in the toilet. Eva walks Eduardo into another area, removes her earrings, and returns them back to Eduardo. It turns out that they had been having a covert affair, and Eduardo purchased the earrings for Eva. Meanwhile, Antonio enters the living room to check Anna's phone, and Anna, upon understanding what he is doing, rushes to talk with him. He informs her, much to her astonishment, that a guy on her Facebook wants to know whether she's taking her pants down. Anna says that it's only a virtual buddy, and that this Facebook friend is simply some random person she's never met. Antonio, enraged, demands that Anna remove her skirt. Anna refuses to do so or tell him, resulting in a chase between the two around the house. Finally, she decides to do what Antonio wants, demonstrating to all couples that she is only wearing a skirt that evening. She then walks away, mocking Antonio's homosexuality on the way. It is at this time that Pepe finally comes clean, disclosing that he, not Antonio, is homosexual. Pepe continues by telling everyone about Antonio, compelling him to trade phones with him. He then informs them that he would never introduce Lucio, whom he had duped everyone into thinking was Lucilla, because he is afraid their weird responses and conduct will harm him. Later on, Blanca gets out of the bathroom and says the game was great and it really sets things straight, then tosses off her wedding ring and leaves. Alfonso is still furious over what Eduardo did to his wife at the time. He smacks Eduardo across the face after threatening to murder him if he returns there. He then informs Eva that he is going to bed, and both Antonio and Pepe depart for the evening. Eva, who feels bad about allowing this game to be played in the house, walks outside to the balcony where we can view the full red moon eclipse. It is at this point that she chooses to toss the source of their difficulties onto the road below. A blast of wind returns to damage her house. She gets back up once the wind stops and observes that the moon has completely exited its eclipse and is shining brightly in the sky. Eva returns inside the home and closes the door, perplexed. Surprisingly, she observes her husband and all her friends reappearing and continuing to enjoy their supper as if nothing had occurred. Eva sits next to her husband and examines his shirt, only to find it spotless from the previously spilled wine. She has no idea what is going on right now because nothing appears to have gone wrong until Pepe recommends playing this phone game. Eva is concerned that the same tragedy would occur again, and she informs the couple that she lost her phone on the street below. Because they all believe Eva is acting oddly due to her phone, Pepe declares that they will not participate in the game, declaring that it is everyone or no one. They had no idea how glad Eva is to have been able to return in time after the tragedy that damaged their friendships. And that's where the movie ends. Life, filled with its mysteries and secrets, continues as usual, but the truth remains hidden.